Hi guys, welcome back to the virtual assistant blueprint class. Today is day 2 and I remain your coach Defolu. So today we'll be discussing data entry. We'll be discussing the opportunities in data entry, the rules of engagement, grammar, tone of communication for transcription, typing, formatting, etc. I'll be giving you tips and pointers on a few of these things. So before we go right in, what is data entry? Data entry is basically the act of entering information into e-format or into electric format by using a word processing software or a data processing software. So you can input data, available data, into a content management system, into a database, anywhere, as long as it involves some moving of data from one place to another, or you are converting any file format to text. It is a kind of data entry. So today there are a whole lot of data entry jobs available, like the list is inexhaustible. So I will be mentioning a few that are out there now. Mind you, this list I'm giving you is not in any way conclusive, because like I said, there are a whole lot of different types, but these are some of the common ones that you most likely get or see. So there is audio to text transcription. So that's someone sends you an audio file, or they send you a link to an audio file, and you convert the audio file, you transcribe it into text, into a text document. There's also the video, works basically the same way. Then there are some people that will send you images. So maybe they have a hard copy of the document and they scanned it. So a scanned document is different from a typed document. So they have a scanned document that they want to edit, and they want someone to help them to type out first before they are able to edit. So people also do that. Then this one too, there's also the locked documents. It's almost similar. Sometimes some people create documents, and because they don't want people to share it, they lock that document. So you might even see a PDF file that is logged. So when I say logged, it means that you can only view the document, you cannot copy out of it. So when you have documents like that and you want to edit it, you have to type them out. So we have those. You can help people to transcribe that as well. Then we also have people that have content in a document that they want to transfer into spreadsheets. The same, some people want to transfer contact details into spreadsheets. There's also uploading of personal details or contact details or company details into a database. People, okay, I think I've mentioned that some people want to convert paper files into digital records. Then transferring of data, yes, to CMSs, that's content management systems, that's been mentioned already. Then there's also combining of receipts and other documents into a spreadsheet. So for instance, okay, for example, I had a client a while back that had wherever he went, wherever he spent money, they used to send him receipts. So if you've used Uber or Taxify or any of these ride sharing companies, you know that they will send you receipts at the end of every trip. So he had a whole lot of emails from Uber that they sent him receipts for his trip. So he forwarded all of, actually he gave me access to his email address to look for every single Uber mail that I find, and it was about 2 years worth of receipts, and I had to go all the way back and do the compilation of all the receipts. So I opened a spreadsheet and I was taking from his start point, that's where he started the trip, to his destination. I entered all the details and to the amount that it was charged. So I entered every single thing into a spreadsheet. It took quite a number of days, but I was able to do it. So that's an example of combining receipts. He also had receipts from food places where he eats. I also had access to all of those in his email address too. A whole lot of other expenses. He just wanted to be able to track his expenses, and that was why he gave me the job at the time. So I was able to track all of those expenses because they sent him receipts in his mail. Then there was a time as well, the same client had like a bulk of complimentary cards that he had collected from people over the years. So he has an online system, where an online database where he could enter all of his cards. So we met at a place sometime, and I collected all of those cards from him, over 200. I collected all of those cards from him. So I entered the details of every single person on those cards into the system, into the database that he has running. So that's another type of data entry job as well. So there are a whole lot of that. Like I said, the list is inexhaustible, so it depends on what clients you find and what they want to do. So now I'm going to be discussing rules of engagement, grammar, and tone of communication, especially for transcription. And this is very, very handy because I've given a number of you some transcription jobs to do. And let me first say thank you for everyone that offered and for everyone that took out time to help me with that job. Thank you very much. So now the best thing I can do in return is to point out mistakes, point out errors that you made, and point out ways that you can be better. Of course, I'm still going through each of the documents one at a time, so I'm going to be sending the corrected version to you, and you can view and compare with what you had so that you can learn. So the first thing I'll say is that when transcribing a video or an audio, whether it's a tutorial or a speech, always take out verbal pauses and expressions. So as I am talking now, I get to some places where I say or I say you don't need to put all of that. It's not necessary, because just imagine that you are reading an article or you are reading a document, and the writer puts every single expression that they have, that they add in the course of their speech. Or maybe the person stammers, or maybe the person is trying to express how big something is, or how important something is, and the person stresses over a word. You don't have to space out the words. What you can do is, maybe you can just put that particular word in capital letter, or in the case where the person is speaking and it says a lot of or the person says you understand, you get, you don't need to put all of those. Just make sure that you transcribe in a way that the sentence flows and the sentence makes sense. You understand? So take out verbal expressions, and just make sure that you get the essence of the person's speech or the essence of the person's lesson, taking out all the unnecessary expressions. So another thing I want you to be mindful of are errors, be it semantic errors, that's proper arranging of sentences, grammatical errors, spellings. See, no one is perfect, so even the person speaking can make mistakes. It doesn't mean that you should type it the way that person has spoken it. You understand? You need to use your own discretion as well to know that no, this sentence that this person has said doesn't really work well, that is grammatically wrong. So you can just use your discretion to edit it. You understand? So if the person makes mistakes, you can use your initiative to make corrections. There's also the proper capitalization of letters and words. For instance, the personal pronoun I, that I'm talking about myself, I. Anywhere the letter I appears as a personal pronoun, it must always be capitalized, whether it is in the middle of a sentence, or it is at the beginning of the sentence, or it's at the end of the sentence. It must always be capitalized. Things like that, like names. You want to write a name, say Tayo. The T should be capital letter. These are basic things that you need to watch out for, because when you transcribe for someone and you make all of these mistakes, they just see you as unserious and you don't know what you are doing. So you must dot all your I's and your T's. You must also ensure that you properly place punctuation marks. So where the person is relaying an expression, or the person is talking in third person, or the person is saying is trying to give an impression that they are thinking in their head, you understand, you can put those sentences in a quote. You put them in a quote so that they will show that the person is talking in third person, or I mean in second person, or the person is talking from their head. So you put those in quotes. You must also make proper use of your apostrophes. Put your commas and periods in the proper place. And then for when you are done transcribing, the formatting of the document is also important. You don't have to lump everything together as one long sentence. No, they should be broken into paragraphs. They should be properly spaced. Each line should have some gap in between, so because it hurts the eyes when I'm reading a document and everything is just one straight block of text. There is no break. You should learn to use page breaks. You should learn to use paragraph breaks. So where a sentence ends, you put full stop, and if the next sentence can still stand alone without continuing the previous sentence, you can break it into a paragraph. It makes it easier and appealing to the eyes. It makes it easier to read. You understand? So then for formatting as well, always make sure that you use same formatting, especially in typing and in documents, even when you're writing as well. It doesn't make sense for you to use Times New Roman for one part and then use Arial for another part, or use Tahoma for another part. No, use the same font for everything in that document. The best thing that you can do is that you can just make the titles or the subtitles. You can make the main title itself bold and bigger than the rest of the body, and then if you have subtitles as well, you can make them bold so that they look different from the body, but ultimately their fonts should remain the same. And when you are listing things as well, if you are listing, stick to a method of listing, except when you have multi-level listings. What I mean by multi-level listing is that, okay, for instance, if I want to list like 4 subtitles, and under those, each subtitle as well has more subtitles. So if I have those main subtitles, if I have them as ABC, then their own subtitles, each subtitles under them, I can use bullets instead of another ABC, because it can be confusing that way. So if I use the first level as ABC, I can use the second level listing as maybe like Roman figure numerals, or I just use bullets. You understand? And if you are using bullets all through and there's multi-level listing, use a different bullet for level 1 and use a different bullet for level 2. So these are some of the things that you need to pay attention to when you are using data entry. And submitting projects to clients. So another thing I want to point out to you is that to make your job easier, especially for data entry, always make sure that you use web-based applications to maybe type or use spreadsheets. I'm not saying that you shouldn't use softwares on your phone like Microsoft Word. No, you can use all of them, because Microsoft Word actually has more features than most of the web-based resources. But the beauty of web-based resources is that, number one, you can collaborate with anybody in the world. So if, for instance, you are in Europe and you want to share a document with me here in Africa, you can share that document with me, and both of us will be working on it together, and we'll be working on it together in real time. So this takes out the need for you to first of all send me the document to look through. When you send me the documents, when I finish looking through and I see some errors and I want to send back to you and I want you to correct them, I would now send back to you again. And when you've corrected, it's the back and forth is unnecessary. So you can make use of web-based resources to work. And an example of that is the Google Apps. Google Apps has applications such as the Google Docs. So if you use Google Docs, you can enter data in Google Docs, share with somebody else. You can share with me, for instance. If you are transcribing for me, you can work on Google Docs, then share with me. So if I want to make any corrections, we don't need to be sending it back and forth. I'll just go through the doc, I'll look through it, I'll make the corrections, and I can even leave comments for you so that you can see where you made mistakes. I can point out errors, I can point out mistakes to you. So that's the benefit of web-based resources such as Google Docs. The same applies to Google Sheets. Google Sheets is like the web-based alternative to Microsoft Excel. So that means you can have your Excel sheet on the web as well. So you can use the Google Sheets for spreadsheets. So I'm going to be sharing some resources. Today's class is very short because you have an assignment to do, and I'm going to be sharing resources with you that I want you to study and practice. I'm going to be sharing resources for these Google apps such as the Google Docs and the Google Sheets. So you have to go through those resources, study them and practice them so that you become conversant with them, and in subsequent times when you have jobs or maybe you are just doing assignments for me, you can use them and you can practice with them, and that's how you know how to do them. They make your job easier. So that's it for today's class. Again, it's Defolu, your coach. I'll see you tomorrow with more on the virtual assistant blueprint class.